Hello guys and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me Vulcan. Today I have for you Bumblebeepotato versus AmberT in round 2 of the first North American tournament. Today we're going to be seeing Cheux and on the allied side the 4th Armoured under command of Bumblebee, and on the Axis side we have the 1st SS-Panzer. So certainly an interesting couple of divisions, two that are perceived to be very strong, but Bumblebee certainly loves his American armoured divisions. I've seen him play the 3rd and 4th quite a bit through many tournaments now, so that's interesting to see. So it's certainly a very strong division, arguably the strongest in Steel Division. I know that Eugen certainly thinks so. Personally, I think a lot of their nerfs were very good and have balanced them against a lot of the higher tier divisions at the moment. I don't think the Hellcats can be exploited as much as they used to be. Of course, with Abrams costing more, it's not so easy to bring that potent combination in early, in that you can bring like M8 Cavalry, Abrams and a Hellcat all at the start previously, but Abrams got such a price nerf that it costs too much to do that now. So a lot of people tend to go for the M8 Cavalry charge on closed maps and then like Hellcats on bigger maps. But in this case, we'll have to wait and see what Bumblebee does. On the side of the 1st SS, you do have the Cheux, of course, at the start of the game. They are your mainline tanks. And then you've got those backed up by Volksdeutsche, and those will just kind of hold the front line, especially on a map like this. I think Volksdeutsche are really nice because they do have a Panzerfaust, which makes them annoying, and therefore you can keep them on return fire near roads and use that Panzerfaust to kill off vehicles that get too close. And if it's infantry, you just open up with the MG42s. It looks like AmberT is going to be focusing on this town, however, bringing in a Flampanzer early on, assisted by 2 Sturm Pioneers. He's got the command in there and a Volksdeutsche. This going to be followed up by the Stug 3. On the bottom side, there is going to be an SBW222 with a 2-star one, and that's got the recon. These are really nice. I love these 20mm autocannon units. On the top side, there's going to be 3 Volksdeutsche, and there's also going to be a Grille, which is going to be kind of covering the top side here of the town. On the side of Bumblebee, he is going to also be pushing quite a lot into the town by the looks of things. It's going to be an M8 Cavalry, 2 rifles units. There's going to be the M3A1 half-track there as well with some more infantry. And there's also 2 bazookas and an M20 command. On the bottom side, it's 2 more bazookas and rifles. On the top side, the M18 Hellcat. Now this M18 Hellcat, it doesn't look like it's going to be really contested by very much on this top side. There isn't a Stug there that could possibly kill it. Now these Stugs at close range, especially at the 1000 meter range, especially if there's command nearby, can take on a Hellcat. But a Hellcat, of course, does have the mobility to back away from those engagements and therefore deny those 1000 or 1000 meter range engagements and bring it back to the 1200 where they have, of course, superiority. So it'd be interesting to watch how Bumblebee decides to micro this, but these Jeep 30 cals will help control the front line here, bring in some recon to see across the open ground whilst remaining behind tree lines and keeping the front line forwards. There is also going to be some rifles on that very top side. So reasonably long deployment here from both players. But it seems as though Bumblebee was just trying to decide what he wanted to do up here. There is, of course, the decision to be made between bringing in Hellcat early or maybe just bringing in Abrams early, because Abrams can do a hell of a lot of damage, especially against these Stugs. He does have like a lot of veterancy with like an M4 with like 11 front armor and 11 AP, so you know, can't really go wrong. But either way, we are off, and Bumblebee going to be moving into this town. You can see he's using a lot of unloaded position commands there, a couple of fast move commands for his vehicles. More unloaded position commands for the top side. On the side of AmberT, he is using fast move and unloaded position So a little bit different style of movement from the start of the game, but we'll have to see how these engagements go for AmberT. He is going to try and get his Sturm Pioneers as close as they can get. He might, it looks like he's just stopped short, and I think he might use the smokes to try and advance, which would be a nice idea for sure. On the bottom side, the 222 will drop off the recon and might be able to do a lot of damage to these vehicles if it gets close enough, but it's got a wall of bazookas to get through, which is rather considerable. Armoured LMG rifles were pushed out of the tower early on, but this bazooka is still sitting in a pretty threatening position, and if the Flampanzer comes around the corner and is in range, then it could take a shot, but nope, the Sturm Pioneer and the Flampanzer are going to do the job there. Nicely done by AmberT. On the top side, Volksdeutsche are going to unload, but there isn't really too much here, and Bumblebee can really tell that by the salient on the very top side. He's also got the recon, of course, that can spot any potential AT guns. Although actually saying that, the first SS doesn't have any AT guns, and you know that from the offset if you know the division, because he's solely reliant on these Panzerjäger Stugs, and for the 4th Armoured, that's something that's really, really good. The fact that you don't have to rely on your recon to spot AT is just fantastic. You only need it really to spot enemy tanks at a distance, which is an easy job for a recon unit. But the 222 here making short work of that. Rifles also took out the bazooka, so fantastic job. It looks like slowly but surely AmberT is making ground into this town using his Sturm Pioneers very smartly. One of them has gone down, but the M8 cavalry are going to be coming in here, engaging the 222 at the 1,000 meter range. Unfortunately, the 222 just cannot fire back, so it's a sitting duck at the moment, and this M8 cavalry might be able to clean it up. It's like AmberT just trying to hide it in the orchard down there for the time being. These Volksdeutsche up on this top side, they have been forced back, going to come under fire from both the 30 cal on the Jeep and the 50 cal on the Hellcat. The Hellcat, of course, also has some HE ammunition, so can use that to basically pin down the Volksdeutsche and really do a lot of damage there. So we have a Stug 3 now, a second Stug 3 coming in. That's going to be coming to the very bottom. It looks like it's to counter this M8 cavalry. But I can't help but feel there needs to be like a Stug 3 on this top side that's kind of hidden behind one of these trees. Because otherwise it's going to get to the point where these Volksdeutsche die, and the entire top side of this map will be in favour of Bumblebee, when AmberT hasn't really made too much ground on the bottom side. And it looks like that's where AmberT is kind of focusing. Maybe he wants to split this map diagonally, but he's going to have a hard time. He's got Abrams coming in. It's actually 10 front armor. I think I've mentioned it's 11 front armor earlier, but it's actually 10. It's got the 11 AP. And that's going to be actually pretty good at engaging Stug 3s at close range, because it will generally aim a lot faster due to it having a turret rather than being self-propelled like these Stugs are. But that Stug in the meantime, that's looking for shots onto either the M8 cavalry or the M3A1 half-track. The Flampanzer, that's going to be trying to move forwards, but maybe straight into line of sight of the M8 cavalry. I think Bumblebee's doing a fantastic job of microing this M8 to make that happen. Gets a shooter wounded onto the Flampanzer, does not get the kill, unfortunately for him. The Volksdeutsche have been dealt with up here though, and it looks like AmberT is just going to try and delay by bringing in another Volksdeutsche. He could get them into these buildings, honestly, and that would be a nice place to kind of hide them. And maybe he can get a Stug 3 up to these tree lines, but we'll have to wait and see. Currently it's a +2 for Bumblebee though. 61% territory lead in his favour, and that is not a good thing for AmberT. Moving into Phase B though, you do of course get your hands on Panthers as the first SS, so that's something that he can maybe rely on. But as you can see here, Abrams has come in, going to be taking the shot at the Stug 3, finds the shooter wound, doesn't hit the second shot, which is lucky for AmberT. Looks like the Stug may be stopping to engage. No, Bumblebee currently just moving forwards there. Oh, now backing away. He sees that the Ju-87 is coming in. Bumblebee not going to have too much to stop this. Needs to buy some AA, and certainly does straight away. The MGMC coming in. Thankfully, 50 cows are going to do the job. M20 Command, M8 Cavalry, M3A1 half-track. Those 50 cows apparently enough to to actually do some serious damage to this Ju-87 and stop it from killing Abrams. So Abrams is okay. It looks like Bumblebee is all clear for the time being. We'll know that that Ju-87 will not be coming back for a little while, since it did take a lot of damage. So now Abrams engaging the Stug 3, and the Stug 3 does have a chance to penetrate Abrams, so Bumblebee going to have to be careful there, is going to back off, not going to tempt fate. M8 Cavalry going to be taking on this 222, trying to finish that off. Meanwhile on the top side, Volksdeutsche have kind of stopped the push for now. M18 Hellcat just kind of hidden up here behind these trees. But I'd like to see Bumblebee maybe try and take advantage of this ground. Get this Jeep to drive forwards, just see if there's anything there. That kind of thing. But for now it's not too much of an issue. We do see the WC-52s coming in with the cavalry scouts, and those will be actually really useful for pushing through these tree lines and just checking if there's anything there before he sends the Hellcat round. Rifles in the mid have bumped into the Volksdeutsche there, so the Hellcat might come down and help pin those. Guerrilla, I think that's going to be firing at this rifle squad here. It does have 27 HE, so it's going to do a hell of a lot of damage if it actually hits on target. I think that was a little bit off there, so the rifle's not taking the maximum amount of damage, but it's going to have plenty of attempts to hit again, and there you go. That's more like it. Now Abrams here did get internal fragmented by the Stug 3. The bazooka is going to go down though, as it does get revealed by the Volksdeutsche. This is really good for AmberT. However, as we can see, one of the Stug 3s has died. I think it came in very close range to the M8 Cavalry. Was taking the engagement with the Abrams there, but then the M8 Cavalry maybe got the side shot or something? Not entirely sure, but either way, Stug 3 went down, and that's not good for AmberT. He's going to be bringing in another one, and it might help him out. But I'm a little bit concerned at the moment. This 64% territory lead, if it goes to 65, will turn into a +3, and that's something that you kind of want to avoid in Phase A if you want a chance of coming back in the late game. Now with these Volksdeutsche being forced back though, and it seems like Bumblebee is getting the upper hand in this town. The VulcanHDGaming there though, making short work of those cavalry scouts. Oh, here comes the Ju-87. I just lose line of sight. Yeah, I did. That's a real shame for AmberT. The thing is with the 1st SS, as well as them not having any AT guns in Phase A, other than these Stugs, they also don't have much recon, and that's something that can really play a part, especially when it comes to these Ju-87s. They need to obviously see the targets they're firing at, and if they can't, then, you know, stuff like this happens where it just kind of flies around. But has found a shot onto that M8 Cavalry. Going to take a hell of a lot of 50 cal fire though, as it flies over the town. Yeah, Ju-87 against the 4th Armoured early on is really, really nice, because not many people bring anything other than a B-26. I'm not even sure if you can bring anything other than a B-26, but exploiting that air early on, that space that AmberT has in the air with the Ju-87 is really smart. It's just a shame that he hasn't found many more kills with those, and the 50 cals did do enough damage to keep that off the map for a little while. Now in the centre here, the Volksdeutsche winning over those rifles was really nice. But looks like the Guerrilla going to come under attack by the Hellcat. Hellcat's going to take a shot there, gets the weapon jam with the first shot. Really nice job. Stern Pioneers are going to be moving forwards. You don't really want to ever put them in the tower. That's just really, really bad. And well, on this bottom side, not quite sure what killed that. Maybe it was the Hellcat? I think the Hellcat, yeah, must have got line of sight onto the VulcanHDG and popped that. So nice job actually by Bumblebee to find that line of sight, and the Guerrilla going to go down. So that's now dead. And well, AmberT is kind of stuck in a really bad situation. He has moved into Phase B, so he does have access to more infantry, but it's going to have to get here quick because the Stern Pioneers are now dead. And honestly, just a little push from these rifles, we'll find that the only unit left is the Pioneer Führer. And once Bumblebee controls the town, as well as this top side, that's going to be a +3 easily, which leaves AmberT in a very, very sticky spot. And here we can see the Volksdeutsche, they're going to get pinned down by the 50 cal most likely. That's going to allow the Hellcat to come in and just instantly surrender those. That's going to completely open up the territory on the top side. Panther G is on the way, but can that get into a safe position? Because one thing that Hellcats are really, really good at is ambushing and just like coming around the edge of tree lines and getting multiple line of sight onto your Panther Gs or just your like heavy targets in general, and really taking advantage of that. So if Bumblebee can make that happen and the Panther G goes down, AmberT is going to be really, really stuck. Oh, nice hit there. Looks like the Stug was going to take a shot at the M8 cavalry, but Abrams comes around the corner. So does the M18 Hellcat. Stug down. Ju-87 is going to take out the M8 cavalry on the bottom side. Not going to really find any success near the town though, since the MGMC is kind of covering the air with the help of all of those 50 cals. We do see some recon now coming in. Looks like AmberT is going to be prioritising that. Really needs to know where these M18 Hellcats are. Otherwise, this Panther could be having a hell of a hard time. Now Panther G just going to be trying to take out the Jeep there and deny some of this territory. But this is now a +3, 69% territory lead. You can see that the Pioneer Führer, they use their grenade on the half track, but that's not going to be enough. Now the town is completely under control of Bumblebee. Surprised that the P-38 there backed off from the engagement with the Ju-87. Could have definitely killed that, I feel. But either way, Panther here moving forwards. You can see the Hellcats getting into the ambush position that I was talking about at that range. Panther's just really, really stuck, because what's going to happen is Panther G is going to move forwards, going to try and find a shot onto like a Hellcat. This Hellcat's going to come around this corner. This Hellcat's going to come around this corner, and it's just going to take shots from two sides, and that's just going to be game over. And B-26B Marauder going to be coming in to make it even easier. When you invest a lot of points into a singular unit, it's just not ideal. Here we go. Ideal, sorry. Hellcat's going to be coming around the corner. Hellcat driver wounded, first shot onto the Panther G. Panther G changes target as the Hellcat backs off. Nothing that this Panther can do. B-26B just strafing that as well, and just before the Panther goes down, 13 minutes and 30 seconds, AmberT is going to surrender. Wow. Dominant display there by the 4th Armoured, and thinking about it, the 4th Armoured just has all of the tools to really exploit the 1st SS early on. The fact that there's no AT guns to worry about for the Hellcats is just really, really nice. It gives those Hellcats a lot of freedom of movement, and he had the recon to check if there was any vehicles there anyway, so it was safe to pretty much move up as much as he wanted with those Hellcats. So he took full advantage of that on the top side. On the bottom side, just some really smart micro from Bumblebee allowed him to find line of sight onto those Stugs on the bottom side and other units that were irritating, like the VulcanHDGaming and so on. Did take a little bit of damage from AmberT, but yeah, I'm just a little bit concerned that there wasn't a Stug on that top side to kind of just not even kill the Hellcat, but at least hold it at bay so that the units that were there couldn't make as much ground. Nice job by Bumblebee though. It just really shows how powerful this division can be. 800 kills to 405 losses. In terms of the kills, most of them came from just the Hellcats in general. You can see the Hellcat there killing the Stug 3 and the VulcanHDGaming. This one took out the Guerilla and 3 Volksdeutsche. M8 Cavalry took out one of the Stugs as well. So yeah, it looks like I was right about that sort of side shot. I think that's probably what happened on the very bottom. In terms of losses, well, the 222 did a nice job of cleaning up some of the infantry before it got killed off by the M8 Cavalry, and that's one thing that these 2-star 20mm autocannon units are great for. Ju-87 just didn't really get enough kills early on. It did kill 2 M8 Cavalries, but that's not really paying itself off. And that's just unfortunate. I think AmberT just lost line of sight at really awkward times, and not really too much he could have done about that, because that's really up to Bumblebee microing his forces correctly. He did kill off a few units here and there, but in the end it just wasn't enough to move into Phase B and have like an equal playing field that the Panthers could really make a difference. Because when Panthers come in on their own, they're absolute sitting ducks. They get fired at by everything, they get pinned down, and then there's just nothing they can do. And the stress effect is just so damn powerful on like larger units like King Tigers and stuff, and that's why you see people bomb them all the time, because yeah, there's a potential that the bomb can get the kill, but it's mainly just about making the units fall back and then exploiting that with other units. And in this case, the 4th Armoured has the Hellcat, which is the perfect unit to really exploit units that are falling back, because it has the speed to either go for the surrender or the firepower to just kill off heavier units. And yeah, the beauty of the 4th Armoured, or some would say the curse. But that's that. Bumblebee wins the game. He's going to be moving on to the semi-finals. Congratulations to him. AmberT, last we're seeing of him as he moves down to the lower bracket. And for those of you wondering why we will no longer see players who are moving down to the lower bracket, it's not only because I'm not casting those games, but it's also because once they drop down from the upper bracket, there is no way that they can win the tournament anymore. They can only come in 3rd or 4th. So that's kind of why I'm not focusing on the lower bracket in this case. But yeah, really quick game. Bumblebee made the most out of the power of the 4th Armoured. That's all I have to say. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.